Right, well, this is my life, part 5. I got to where I was going to talk about the other hospitals that I worked at. How far did I get? Oh, when I said I went Reliant Security, just before then I joined Security Corps. A lot of things went wrong there. I got blamed for stuff that went wrong that wasn't my fault at all. I was just about to be a supervisor, and we had a break-in at a building that I was securing, and I got the blame for that, even though I did all the right procedures and everything So didn't get a very nice deal with them at all. It's then I went to Reliance, and I'm not sure. I said I only worked when you worked it all out, about 2.5, 3 years out of 5 or 6 years I was actually working for Reliance. That's when all the stuff and the diabetes went wrong, and I had to go into St Thomas's and have amputations on my left foot. So I was there, Reliance, as I say, 2000 till 2001. Yeah, that's right. And I was working. The last place I secured was near, just past, not the Savoy Hotel. I can't think of the name of it, mate. So the hotel where Margaret Thatcher died. And I was round the corner from there in a sort of, I suppose you could call it a mews. And it was a smashing little place. You was on your own, and you didn't have to stay on the desk all the time. It was days, but it was only like an 8-hour day, so the money was terrible. I got to know the different people on the different floors. The mail came in, and you sorted all that out. There was no one there to show me what to do, really. And after a day or two, I knew where all the people were. All the letters went to what floors. There's about 5 or 6 floors. Can't think of the actual name of the firm now, just as well as I wouldn't say. Somebody, it must have been a supervisor, because it's some time ago now, of course. Supervisor told me where emergency things were downstairs, where the garage was. You had to estimate how much oil would be they needed for the week to run everything, like, boilers and things, everything like that. And a big sort of mini tanker used to come in, and you had a key that went out the front of the building and undone it, and it was rather like when you fill your car up with fuel, except it was on the floor, and a big sort of it looked more like a bollard really, and you undone that, and they put the hose in, what's her name, then the bloke did it all. You learned how to do all that. It was quite interesting. I had a little radio under the desk, and it was there when I was there when it was the millennium, and they said if you come in, if you do it, like, if you take over, although it was permanent, they would have still got somebody else in temporary. You got, I think it was triple pay for the Millennium Daylight when it actually was there. So I did all right there, but that was the last job I had, and by then I didn't know what was happening. The diabetes got out of control, and the kidneys and that. And my legs were twice the size as they should have been. I could hardly bend my knees to sit down. And I had ulcers and God knows what coming out. I was in a lot of pain with them. Funny enough, when I get ulcers on the legs now, I don't get any pain, but I did then. I had to use a bus in them days, because I was in central London. And I had to stand up half the time, because the seats, you haven't got all that much in front of you. You got your seat there, say, and it's quite close, so you got to bend your leg. And my legs were like that. I couldn't bend them properly, like that, because under there, say, on the back of the knee, was absolutely bloated with all the water. And that's when it all went wrong, and I had to stop work and lumbered in hospital and all the rest of it. But that was a lovely little number, that was. I don't know how long it would have gone on for, because there was a fella, security officer from the same firm that I was in. I'm just watching the time. He'd been there 20 years. It's unusual for a firm to hire private security for 20 years, the same one. And he was sort of like part of the family. I suppose I would have been in the end, but as I say, I couldn't work anymore. They stopped me, and I was medically retired, and sorted all that lot out. But that was a nice little job, that was. And you know, the other hospitals I worked at before I went into security, as I might have mentioned before, was in Lloyd Hospital at Crystal Palace. It was like a cottage house, really. And I went from there. I did a short stint at King's College Hospital in London. That's like a rabbit warren, that is. You know, there's two different buildings, and you could go 3 weeks before you saw any of the other porters from the other building. Since then, though, they've built a dental unit, and there's another massive, great building in front of that, and it's not, doesn't look anything like the hospital I used to know, and it's modernised. So I went from there. Where did I go before? Oh, yeah, I'd been all years before, I'd been at the one at Brixton. No, what was it? Landor Line In Hospital it was called, but it's where all the ambulances were. I think I covered that. But the one I was at longest was at St James's at Balham, like I said. You know, I was there 7 years. All the other hospitals, Belgrave Hospital for children and stuff like that, I did. As I say, I finally ended up in 2001. Couldn't work anymore. By then, my marriage was on the rocks, my first one, that's right. That was on the rocks. But because that went all wrong and I moved to London and got married to somebody else again a couple of years later, where I am now, living here now in Kent. And that marriage has gone fantastic. The thing, I sometimes wonder now I've got time to go to work. There's things I do now, man. I go down the gym twice a week because I've got dodgy heart as well now. Well, it's what they call AF, the electric side. It's heart failure, which was what was causing them all, and nobody knew when it all went wrong. I'm there almost every day. I won't be today because I've got a mobility scooter now because I suffered from back pain for 25 years. From lifting, like, you know, the vertebrae all squashed and everything else. And the hips haven't been playing me up at the moment, but it seems to stop when I go down the gym, typical, isn't it? Go for all my circuit exercises and stuff. And then it starts playing up again. About 2 hours later. And there's that. I don't know if anyone knows Blue Water in Kent. We go up there once or twice a week, me and my wife. Or we pop up the top in the town, the local Asda's, and a few restaurants we go to, Harvester restaurant. Or I nip up there on my own. And go to Dartford mainly on a Saturday. There's always something, like, you know, we're hardly ever in some cases. My daughter's in, she don't sort of go out like that, she's still waiting for trying to get a job. So life is pretty sweet at the moment. It's just health issues. My wife's got health issues as well. You know, I always say I go in hospitals now and up to doctors more times than when I worked in the health service, and that's 15 years. You know, all the people and patients that you help over the years, you don't think you're going to end up like it as well. You know, or even worse, because there's so many different things I've got. Like anyone who's diabetic out there knows all the different complaints you get with it, you know, eyes, legs. The only thing that's never been mucked up with me is my liver. What else? Breathing's all right. Don't suffer from headaches or stomach aches. At the moment, 2 days ago, they've now discovered that I have a hernia just behind the and to the bottom of the navel. But they said, does it hurt or anything? I said, no. They said, we'll just leave it. It'll be all right. It's from coughing because I've got heart failure and I sometimes get such a coughing fit and it's strained that, and that's what it's done. Plus the fact I find out now that I've been waiting too long before when I take insulin injections and eat. About 7 years ago, I was on what they call human insulin, insulin, and you had to wait half hour, something. Even one doctor even said it can even be 3 hours before it kicked in. They put me on new stuff then called Novamix. Nobody said anything else about how you do it, you know. Difference was I went from those sort of really plungers that you get them needles, you know, with a plunger fixed on them like drug addicts take, to what's known as a pen. This is totally different. And it now, because I went to see the diabetic nurse, I had an appointment with her, it now turns out that I'm not supposed to wait anything like that. You're supposed to take this insulin and within 5 minutes eat your meal, which is more convenient than to hang about in a restaurant while your dinner gets cold, waiting for the half hour. Also, she said you shouldn't be injecting in the arm. I mean, there's any other diabetics out here, I think it's the same, but she said injecting your tummy, which I've done from time to time anyway, because it was injecting in the muscles, which I thought was okay, but it isn't. And it turns out the needles I got, which is 8mm, are too long. I'm now on 4. They're so minute. Oh dear. And that has made me more stable with my glucose readings. You know, how much sugar's in the blood left or hasn't gone, how much is still glucose too much, you know. It's been about 4 or 5 days, so I've had to do printouts on the computer, you know, times and dates and how much I've taken, eaten and all the rest of it. Print that out and I'll take that up there. I think it's next week sometime. I've got it written down. And so far it's going all right. Because I've never ever been stable before, even because I've been diabetic nearly all my life, I suppose, and it was just diet control, which didn't work in the end. I mean, I've lost weight again now. I was 14.5 stone when it got me down from 18 before, when I swelled up with all the water, and lost the weight myself a couple of days ago. I'm down to 14 stone now. And I'm, you know, originally it got me down to 10.5, as I said in another video. I was bones sticking out, I lost my strength, I just looked like a bloody skeleton. It was ridiculous. And I was only around 28, 29. Yeah, so I'm a lot fitter, and I find out I don't get tired at all down the gym now. I might drop off about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon sitting here, my eyes go. But some of the ones who are youngest, like some of the 60-year-olds that are younger, some of them have to do the same thing, you know, and they look younger than me. It's strange though, the blokes down there who've actually had a heart attack, they're the ones that are fitter. A couple of them are younger though, and they can actually run quite fast. Me, I've never had a heart attack. I think I'm with a valve in it about 12 years ago, apparently cleared itself up. It's the electric side with me, called AF. You know, when I take my pulse, you can, all over the place it is. And the meter has to lock onto that. Rather like when you put an automatic, on a camera and you've got automatic focus, you know, and if you're trying to focus on something else there instead of there, it goes in and out till it locks, and it's the same type of thing. Yeah. Right, I'll try not to leave it so long next time, because I have to try and remember where I got up to, even though I played the end of the last one. Yeah, this is now 13:31, so I'd better call it quits, otherwise it'll be rejected again. Right. So it's over and out and all that. I hope you're okay, Richard. I know you haven't made one for a little while. You're probably working a couple of days a week again. So I look forward to seeing your next one anyway. So this is me, Turner Medman, Mickey Turner, out, over and out, and I will catch you again. Bye for now.